we have a number of town staff here today. They introduce themselves. This is the group that really makes it happen. I will tell you, I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of town staffs when I was on the county legislature. I will tell you that this group in Penfield is the benchmark in this county, and a number of them are recognized across the state. In fact, they get called to make presentations across the state. They are the best of the best. And I want to just take a minute and recognize all of them. Guys, thank you very much for all your support, everything you do. I think the other reason that they wanted to be here was to make sure that the new guy after 35 days didn't commit him to something that they couldn't deal with. So I promise that will not happen. So with that, we wanted to kind of change this a little bit and focus more from a business standpoint. A lot of this that you're going to see today, components will be used in the State of the Town address that I'll be doing in March. But we wanted to just take it up a notch and talk really those things that apply to you, that you have an interest in. So as we go through, any question is fair game at any time. Yell, wave your hand, whatever the case is, because I want to make this interactive as we go through and as beneficial as possible. I could spend several hours talking to you, one, because of the excitement that I have of the things that are going on in the town, and two, there's just a lot of things happening in and around our business districts. So I'm just going to do a snapshot of some of the things that are going on, some of the things that are happening. I'm not going to be able to hit everything, but certainly between the staff and myself, our door is always open. Would welcome an opportunity to have a telephone call, an email, stop in the office, and so we can get to know one another a little better. So with that, Phyllis, thank you. So we're on our bicentennial, 200 years Penfield. Daniel Penfield came to this area. This area was an area that he thought was going to be great for his family and to develop this community. And one of the first things that he did was to start some businesses, because a community can't sustain itself without business. From my perspective, you've got to have a healthy business community and the residents supporting that business in order to have healthy community. And so as we go through today, that is no different. We need to have healthy businesses for our community to continue to grow and flourish as we go through. I didn't want to take a lot of time and talk about budget numbers, and every time I do that, Bob Beeden gets a little nervous. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about some things that are facing us. Nothing that I don't think we can get over or get through, but I just want to make sure they're on the table and that we talk about. Certainly, we have several shovel-ready projects in 2010, and actually one of our staff members said earlier this week, this town is going to look a little bit like a battle zone or war zone this summer because of the number of road projects that we have. We have a very large project going over on Route 250. But those are some good things. Those are very positive. We will do everything we can to minimize the impact to the businesses as we go through. There is progress to be made, and we'll make sure that we're working with everybody as we go through. Our CHIPS Highway program, always a big item that we look for to help us within our community. We've been very successful in the last couple of years of making sure that is in place, and a lot of effort by our highway administration.
What is CHIPS?
CHIPS is a highway improvement program that we use and goes not only to the towns but to the county as well. Thank you. We're concerned about a little bit of a trickle-down effect from the state. The governor has rolled out their budget. I'm not going to get too excited right now because there's going to be a lot of back and forth as we go through. But certainly, all indications that we're hearing right now is that we could see 3 to 5% reduction in the grant or state aid that we receive from a municipality standpoint. From a county standpoint, sales tax on track. Our mortgage tax is tracking a little bit ahead of where we thought the target would be. The town, and that's the piece that everybody has where they feel they have the most control. And I'll tell you, this town has been very well run for many years under many supervisors. We have a AA3, which is one of the best ratings that you can have, and one of the few towns that has that in the county. We were able to lower the tax rate by 30 cents and keep the tax levy flat for 2010. And then there's a number of very aggressive programs for grant funding and other opportunities to bring some money into the community. So a lot of times you think of grants, federal and state, but NYSERDA, we got a very large grant for about $145,000 that we're using for energy reduction, energy improvements, and we understand that there's more opportunities with NYSERDA as we go through. And then I don't want to miss the 485B exemption, and that is for commercial business or commercial property owners. And if you're not aware of that, certainly we want to make sure that you become aware of that. And we can work with Jim Costello, our assessor, Ann Buck, but something that you should keep in the back of your mind. This is a chart that sometimes creates a little bit of discussion, creates a little bit of gas for different agencies. This happens to be the Penfield School District, but if you take a look at your total tax bill, and a lot of people don't realize that their tax bill is made up of three parts. There's the town piece, there's the county piece, and then there's the school district piece. And so a lot of times as we're talking with residents, they don't understand where that goes, how that works. And so in the town hall, as you're paying your taxes, now you're paying your joint town-county taxes, you'll see this. But again, just a snapshot. This is based on a $150,000 assessed value home to just give you an idea of where your tax dollars do go. So let's talk a little bit about development vitality. We've got a little over 13,000 parcels within the community of Penfield, of which 385 are zoned for business, commercial, industrial. So if you take a look at that, we get a lot of questions to say, wait a second, that doesn't seem like a lot, doesn't feel like a lot, how come we're not doing more? You know, certainly one of the things that this community has done historically in the past has concentrated on the residential. That was something that our residents were looking for. That's what they called for. But as we've gone through and we work with our different comprehensive plan, one of the things that we're starting to talk about is more around mixed use, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But certainly, if we take a look at our 385, and Jim gives me an update every so often, but approximately 92-ish% of those properties are occupied, and that's the good news. So as we move forward, one of the things that we want to do as a community is to take a look at, do we want to make that a little bit larger? Do we want to grow that? Do we grow that properly and keep in character of where the town is going? Been a lot of work on the economic development of the 250 corridor, and that study has been completed. Again, as we talked, or as I spoke, the multiple use zoning. There's a lot of interest and a lot of need in these areas to have more of what I'll call the farm market type of concept, where if I need a loaf of bread or if I need a quart of milk, I don't have to run to Wegmans. And so one of the things the comprehensive plan has been having some conversations about is, do we build some of these little business centers or mixed use and do it appropriately within communities? And so there's been a lot of conversations with the comp committee. The comprehensive committee will have their plan to the town board probably in 6 to 8 weeks. The town board then will be taking that. We'll be holding some hearings and decide to move that, how we're going to move that forward for the rest of 2010 and for the next 10 years. That's a 10-year program as we move forward. The local waterfront revitalization plan update, I think that's very important. A lot of times folks don't understand or realize what that is. That's down in the Empire Boulevard area. So those properties along the bay. And there's been a lot of interest there. We'll be talking a little bit more when we get to that particular zone. But through a lot of hard work, Jim Costello, Town of Irondequoit, Town of Webster, Penfield has been the leader of pulling that together, working with those other two towns, and we've got a goal to have that completed by year end. Right, Jim? That's our goal. And then Redmond Sand Quarry and the future of that and the zoning of that. A lot of people don't understand or recognize where that is. Panorama Plaza area. There's a small little lake there, about 109 acres, to give you an idea of the size and scope of that. Dolomite has started to wind down their activity in that area. So the next question that comes up is what happens with that? What uses do you use with that? How do we work that with the surrounding lands? What does that look like? So what I'd like to do is now just do a snapshot through our 6 business districts and talk about what are some things that are going on there that are good, what are some opportunities, because you can't make better unless you know what those opportunities are. And can we work on everything all at once? No. But one of the things that this town board has been committed to is stepping up and dealing with the items that are before us. Not let them drag out. Go about that very logically, go about that very precisely, but make some decisions and move forward with some of these plans as we go forward. So first, historic Four Corners. So, a number of new applications. 2 weeks ago we had an opportunity, which is fairly unusual, to have 4 public hearings before the town board. 4 new businesses coming into the Four Corners area. We had a lot of dialogue. A lot of folks for, some folks against, but I think we worked through all of that activity. Last night the town board approved all 4 of those, and I know all 4 of them certainly are anxious to get started and to get into that area, get operating. I'm very pleased about the new apartments over Ozzy's. One of the conditions of approval that we had talked about is that they really need to give that building a facelift. And the town board was unanimous on that area just needs a little bit of facelift and help. So that was one of the conditions of approval. They need to get that started by May. They need to complete it by September. So we'll look to see some upgrades, and that includes some landscaping as well. So a lot of good things. I just want to mention that ECC elected to move their business from Perrington into Penfield, which I see as a very positive thing. They made the commitment to purchase that building and to bring a portion of their operations. So,
quickly, I go back to Ozzy.
Yes.
Is that the original owner that's putting in those apartments?
It's the current owner, Sam, and the gentleman, owner of Texas Hots. Yes. So there were 3 apartments in that building, and that's what he plans on fixing up and renting out, and then rehabbing the rest of the building. Okay, Joyce.
Tony, could you tell us about the sushi place?
What would you like to know about the sushi place? Well, let's see. I think it has something to do with the Baruti family. So if anybody here, but yes, it's a former Donnabee's, and they're gonna be up and operating there. I think they wanted to start yesterday, but and the one thing that I found out pretty interesting, that the number of students in this community that I've heard from on the sushi bar just overwhelms me. I'm amazed. So not being a sushi person myself, but I was told by the owner that I have to try his sushi. So I certainly will be in the Four Corners trying sushi. The Penfield Art Center, what a great success there. Taking one of our historical buildings that was looking to, pretty much rack and ruin, and really upgrading that, and the Hutch family doing a wonderful job there. The Kit property sold. The Kit property is right adjacent to Dunkin' Donuts in the Four Corners, that gray single-family home there, and that has been sold, and there's some interest on actually taking that building out and rehabbing that whole area. And certainly one of our local restaurants, and congratulations to them. I mentioned them in my article last week, but congratulations to them for being in the top 100 in the U.S., as I understand it. Top 100 Chinese restaurants in the U.S. And then our Daniel Penfield statue, and everyone knows Linda has been working very hard on the bicentennial and doing a great job pulling that together. She and her team are doing some great things, and looking forward to having Daniel Penfield come back to the Four Corners. So from a public works standpoint, 5 Mile Line Road is going to be resurfaced right from Perrington to Webster. That whole corridor is going to be rehabbed, remilled, repaved, and cleaned up. The Mott's Lane status, that's been, we kind of got to a point, and then it just stopped for a couple of reasons. One, working with our friends in DOT, and two, from a funding standpoint. We had an opportunity to meet with the DOT on Friday on a number of projects, actually 17 projects in Penfield, and we're looking forward to try to move some of these projects off the dime, which will be very good. And then certainly I've got an opportunity to spend a little time with Congresswoman Louise Slaughter, who gave us some initial funding to see if we might be able to pick up some additional funding to help complete that.
Are these local highway projects being done by the highway department, or are they being farmed out to third-party contractors?
It'll be a little of both. Penfield Highway has been recognized on a lot of fronts for the work that they do. We get a lot of county work, which is revenue for us. I think all of the supervisors in the past have always tried to corral our highway superintendent, Jim Fletcher. He wants to do as much as he can because certainly that's revenue coming in and helping his budget, helping the town. And we always want to balance making sure we're getting our work done on our town roads as well. So there will be a little bit of town staff working. There will be a lot of work done by contractors, and there will be work done by the state as well.
Is the town going to be hiring people to supplement its current work staff?
Historically, we have not done that. We have worked with our crew, and we've been very creative as we've gone through to do that. And again, the idea, I think that Penfield's philosophy is that we didn't want to hire only to turn around and then let people go. So we work very closely. We partner with other towns, part of intermunicipal agreements. So we partner with other towns, Webster, Perrington, Pittsford, and if we've got a big job, we'll pull them together and work together and split the revenues that come in. So we take the lead in many cases on that. And again, MCC, the high school, the Penfield School District hires us. I spent an hour and a half with John Carlovati and talking about all the good things from a Penfield, town of Penfield and a school district standpoint. And they want us to do all of their work as we have in the past, which is great from my perspective.
Tony?
Yes?
On either end of this 5 Mile Line resurfacing project, will Webster and Perrington be coordinating their ends of 5 Mile Line road resurfacing?
Actually, Tom, they work very closely. All of the towns and the highway superintendents, part of their association, they get together, and what they try to do is they try to put programs together that will enhance or complement one another. And so I know that this stretch is going from a point, basically Whitney Road Bridge, right to Ridge Road. I'm not aware of anything that's planned either further on Whitney or across the street of Ridge Road onto 5 Mile to 104. So, yep. And hopefully you can see a little better. I apologize. I should have done that earlier. And then environmental testing in Shuffleburger Park. We were contacted that there may be a little bit of an issue there. ExxonMobil has been working with the town. They're going to be doing some testing and some remediation. We've asked them to make sure they do that between 4th of July parade and before we get the statue in place, so that we're not putting something together only to take it apart and put it back together again. So, and then opportunities, it's the ongoing in this area, the traffic calming. The town continues to look for ways for additional parking, but I'd like to just pause for a minute. We have added a number of parking spots in the Four Corners area through a lot of hard work. I know Chan Philbrick was supervisor at the time, has put together a contract and an agreement with the fire district, certainly with the Hutch and Morosco from Graham V. So we have added a lot in addition to also striping through that area. So one of the things that always comes up is that we need more parking. So this board is looking as creatively as we can to add additional parking to that area for all the business owners, all the business merchants, so that that is not a problem. We don't want people driving by, I want to go into that store, there's no parking, I'll go down the road and I'll go into a similar store in another town, and we want to try to avoid that where we can. Retaining businesses, certainly the key. If businesses are in any of our business districts and they grow to a point where they can't expand in that particular facility and they move to another location, our hopes are they move someplace else in Penfield. But we understand through business growth, they may not always be able to do that. Then we have some businesses that just can't make it for whatever reason. And so one of the things this board is committed to do is looking at opportunities to streamline the process, especially existing buildings as we're changing from one item to another, that instead of going through the formal hearings, is there an administrative process to do that? And Hungus Music in the Four Corners just went, they were our maiden voyage. We went through that with them. They came in and spent about 15 minutes with the town board. We went through administratively, working with Jim Costello's office, issued them the proper permits, and let them operate from there. And we're looking to do more of that where it certainly makes sense to help that process. And then certainly partnering with town and property owners and businesses. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, the town can't do it by themselves, the property owners can't do it by themselves, nor can the business owners do it by themselves. We've got to be a partnership. We've got to have that relationship. We've got to work together. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Lloyd's Corners, if we could. Newsworthy, Elderwood will be opening March of this year. If you take a look at it, that operation has just been amazing how quick that has gone together. An interesting tidbit that I found out is they've got a couple of truckloads of sod that they've got stationed, so when they get ready to open, you're going to go by there and you're going to see grass. I mean, it's going to be absolutely amazing. And they want to give that good first impression. They recognize they're going to have to come back in the spring and pull some of that up and do that. But their commitment to making this facility a first-class facility very positive. Strong Memorial Hospital looking to put in 2 new buildings from an orthopedic standpoint in the Platinum Office Park. That's very positive. I think we're starting to be known as Strong Memorial Hospital East, which is great. And then just recently understand that the Sunoco facility on the corner of 250 441, there's some discussions there between the property owner and some businesses to rehab, update that, which certainly will be a very, very big plus to that particular area. And from what we understand, it'll be a great use as well. So I'm hoping all that comes together. Route 250 will see some resurfacing, basically from 441 to the Webster Town line. 441 itself, and these are state projects from Dublin Road to the county line. We'll see some resurfacing as we go through. And the traffic light at Pembroke and 250, that's been something that has been on the docket, and we've been having ongoing conversations with that. We're not going to consider that totally dead at this point, but certainly there's some work to be done on that as we move forward. And then we've got this very large water transmission main that starts in the back of this facility, goes along the Y, crosses under 250, Sweets Corners Road, and then heads north to the lake. And that's a 48-inch water main, and if you can imagine, they're going to bore a hole underneath 250 about 5 feet in diameter. It's going to be a very large project benefiting the whole east side. Opportunities in this area certainly are Chase Pickens site, and there is nothing new on that. I would love to see something go into that particular facility. The Penfield Landing, some people may know it as the Farish property, Doodlebugs, and through that area. Opportunity to bring more into that facility than what's there today. And then the North Forest Office Park, there's one building remaining, and that's off in Pembroke Drive, just adjacent south of where the Elderwood Care is, and behind where the daycare facility back in there. And there's an opportunity there for some office buildings. And this elder care just that just continues to be amazing how that's developing. Okay, so it's not Webster, guys. Really, it isn't. It isn't. That has been that ongoing battle. The person that probably worked the hardest on trying to help the branding of that area was Supervisor Chan Philbrick. When Chan came in, I can remember Chan saying, "We're gonna change this, no matter what it takes." And to his credit, he had all the postmasters together, and they worked through a lot of things. And even through all that hard work, we still hear on the radio, you know, come to whatever the business is over there, Webster, New York. So it's still an area that we have to work on as we go through. The Baytown Plaza redevelopment, that's been something that's been on the docket for probably the last 2.5 years around that. This town board went back and indicated to the DeMarcos that they would not rezone the 29 acres that they wanted rezoned for that particular property. That was a decision that was met with certainly a lot of support on one side and a lot of negativity on another side, not only from the developer but others. But this town board said that too big, too much for that particular area. There's no doubt in my mind we'll be hearing more about Baytown Plaza as time goes on. I mean, that just seems to be the way that that whole thing has evolved. Northwest Savings Bank, hey, which is great. Great looking facility. Really helped that corner, and welcome to Penfield, and it is really Penfield. Welcome to Penfield, and thank you. Nolan's Rental and Benecare. The Benecare, another facility that really, it's amazing. I forgot the contrast between what it was and what it is. I mean, it's just amazing. So very good. Plank Empire intersection improvement. There is some work left to be done there. If you go over there, you'll see a a signal pole that's kind of hanging out there. And the state's got on their plans to put new poles. It'll get it back into the right-of-way. And then there will be turning lanes there so that you'll have the opportunity to, get the traffic to flow through there a little bit better than what it does. So and we appreciate the conversation we had with the state. Certainly it can be contentious at times, but I will say that we sat down with them Friday, a group of us and a group from the state DOT, very open-minded, very willing to work with us. Certainly we're not going to get everything we ask for, but life's about compromise, and we're going to have to accept that. But certainly if there's an opportunity for us to work through that, we will do that. Sidewalks in this area, with a number of businesses, the amount of traffic through there, that's certainly something that we want to make sure that we're providing a safe place for people to walk. Traffic calming on Empire Boulevard, another one of the things we talked about on Friday. We talked about this concept of taking Empire from Plank Road up to Irondequoit and making it a 3-lane instead of a 4-lane, so that you have a dedicated center lane where people could take a safe left turn into the businesses as they go through. The state a little anxious about that because of the amount of traffic that we pump through there on a daily basis. They didn't say no, and they told us that they would take a look at it. We're going to continue to certainly press them and encourage them from a safety standpoint, and I think that would be a very good thing if we could do that to help that whole traffic safety. A number of accidents, a number of very bad accidents in that area. Delmar Core property, the old Lipinskis. Looks great. Would like to see a little bit more businesses in that facility, so certainly an opportunity there. And then there are a number of available properties along that corridor, and hopefully the town, working with the PBA and all of you here and those that are not here, hopefully can look to attract some businesses in that area. And certainly, last but not least, the branding issue as we go through. So, yes, yes. Thank you. Jim is pointing to the banner here that we. So, okay.
Get those banners up and know they're.
Certainly, it will help. Certainly, it will help. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No pressure.
No pressure now. LaSalle's Landing. When I first came to the town, I worked for the town for about 5 years before I went on to a career at Kodak, and I have to say that this area back then was an area that you only went to if you had to go. And typically the only reason I went there is because one of my bosses at the town said, you got to go issue a stop work order, you got to go check on this illegal dumping. They're doing something over here, you know. So it was an area that it was truly, at that time, we wanted to get it out of the Penfield and get it into another community. But through a lot of good efforts by a lot of the business owners down there to start to clean that area up, to put some businesses in there, to put a sewer in there. It wasn't sewered and there was problems. And a lot of good efforts really has brought that to life, and the LWRP and the work that Irondequoit, Penfield, and Webster are doing, you know, to really showcase this can be a very special area. It can be an area, a destination, and there's a lot of commitment on a lot of fronts to help that. There has been some discussion recently on Clear Capital Condos. This is an Irish firm that wants to invest in that area and put in some very high-end condominiums because they see the value of that particular area. There is some ongoing work that the town has done. We had a piece of property down there. God bless you. We had a piece of property down there, and we just acquired the Ruoff property. There is some cleanup work that needs to be done. We've been working with the DEC to do that. One of the commitments that I've made, and I know this town board has made, is that any property that the town has, the town owns, and if there's any environmental issues, we will stay right on top of those and get those cleaned up. We now own that. There is a couple of small areas, one for petroleum and one for mercury. Those will be cleaned up, and again, DEC has been very supportive and very helpful with us. And that'll be a continuation of that park that we have down there. And hopefully, as it goes through, the further redevelopment of that whole area. Traffic calming, as we talked about, and again, partnering with DOT and Irondequoit, especially on this end. And then pedestrian accommodations. That is certainly a problem. You're not going to walk down Empire Boulevard at that point. You're not going to walk down there. So what are some things that we can do? Certainly taking 4 to 3 lanes will be a help, and then just trying to be as creative as we can working with DOT and others. And then Basil's, Galel, and their hair properties. There's been a lot of discussions about what should go in there. There's been a lot of things on the table, condominiums, business center, hotel, who knows. So I'm sure more to follow. Conversations that I've had in the past with our staff is that there's a lot of interest. It's just a matter of getting that started, and I think we have the opportunity 2010, 2011 to really make some strides in that area. It is a beautiful area. If you stop. And I had an opportunity this past summer really just to spend a little time. My wife and I were at Basil's. They were very busy. We had about a half-hour wait. We walked out, out to the bay. I mean, it's just a beautiful area, and some real opportunities there as we go through. Panorama Valley, newsworthy. CJ's Grill and Tap Room, the former Roadhouse, very, very positive, very nice. I've been in there a couple of times. and they certainly did a great job of going through and updating that. The Classy Chassis. The Classy Chassis is the area where the old dry cleaner was, next to the ESL kiosk. And the good news is the building's down. The bad news is there's this old fence that's around it, and it looks a little ratty. But the planning board has been working with the applicant for this Classy Chassis. It's in an area, a piece of it is in the floodplain, but what better operation to put in that area where they meet all the requirements and everything is a car wash, because it's all about water anyways. Hopefully that we'll start to see that get cleaned up. Cambridge Estates, ABVI Goodwill and the former Abbott's. Personally, I'm kind of partial to ice cream and Abbott's, but this certainly will provide a necessary, needed operation in the community. This year, Panorama Trail. Last year, the town actually went in and put in sidewalks where they left off and pulled them up to Dogwood Glen. We did that in anticipation of this work for Panorama Trail. This will be all resurfaced from Atlantic Avenue right down to Panorama Plaza. And that's one of the only, one of two town roads in all of this region that received stimulus money. And that's because of all the work that had been done ahead of time, and the amount of traffic that's on that road, everything fell together. And so that's being covered by the stimulus funding. And then Penfield Road from the apartments from 441 all the way down to Panorama Trail. That'll all be remilled and repaved and cleaned up. And that area has really gotten to be a pretty rough road. So that'll get all cleaned up as we go forward. And then opportunities, certainly the Camp Hakamo property. There's been a lot of discussion and interest around that. The Hilton Hotel property that's behind Popeyes, the former McDonald's. They did some work and then it just came to a stop. Rinky Dink property further up, and that's up from the plaza and the car dealership further up on the hill. The Ellison Heights property that is underway, but obviously has not been completed, and that's as you go up the hill. You've got the old Penfield Road and Penfield Road. It sits in that area. And then, as we spoke earlier, the Redmond Sand Quarry. Beautiful piece of property. If you haven't been back there or seen that, it is a beautiful piece of property. There are some real opportunities there. A combination of the town, the county, and then some type of development there could be very beneficial for this community. And then the United Rental site, that's one of those, another one of those sites that every time I drive by it, I look the other way. I just cringe because would love to see that filled. It's certainly a little bit of an eyesore, and we continue to work with different people that have an interest to try to get that updated and upgraded and a viable business again.
Tony?
Yes.
Can you tell us about Cambridge Estates? Can you tell us about it?
Jim?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right over that slide. That is the property adjacent to Penfield Apartments. Where the big hill is, I think it was a spoil pile from the village 441. That property is being developed, I think 40 townhouse units. It was owned by the Blue Building Company. And they got an approval, so we're going to
So by way of location, pretty much across the street from Jennings Knowlton Funeral Home. When I first came to the town, I knew it as Kuhn Hill, K-U-H-N. Mr. Kuhn owned that was filled. One of the questions that comes up is what's really under that pile. And if you ask the state, the state kind of looks at you and says, "Well, that's a great question. There's nothing on our maps." And you ask some of the old timers that were in our highway department, so what's in there? That's a great question. The state just kind of like appeared one day. So when Mr. Kuhn came in, and I was working with the planning board at the time, one of the things that we said to Mr. Kuhn is that you have to have some testing done on that site. And we went back and forth, and Mr. Kuhn, I think, just decided to, maybe not pursue that. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Tony, you can get your abbots at Belgrade.
Yes, I know, and I do, Margaret. Thank you for that. Yes, yes. I live with a lady who knows all the hot spots for ice cream, so, and which is a very good thing. Okay, Browncroft, Blossom, and Creek. This area is just not a lot of activity in this area. This is an area, as the staff and myself were speaking here recently, this is an area that truly are probably more opportunities than anything else. Certainly, the Family First Credit Union and being recognized as an award finalist, the CEO Christine Peters, and the First Federal Credit Union is a jewel in that area. That property, that business is just a wonderful business. And one of the things that we've talked about is what can we do, to kind of help that a little bit around there, and just, build that area up, get that area filled with the businesses, get the mobile gas station with some appropriate use. I mean, there's some real opportunities in there that I think we can work with. Also, Scott DeHollander, civil engineer with MRB. MRB is on that west leg, northwest corner, and MRB, he was in Haiti to evaluate a number of buildings from a safety standpoint. Just a great dedication, speaks very well to the type of people that we have in Penfield and the type of businesses that we have in Penfield. Not only the commitment to their community, but the commitment that they have throughout the world. The mobile station is in remediation process, so that's the good news. The bad news is it's a boarded up gasoline service station. That intersection, we did see some improvements, which was long overdue. A lot of hard work by the town, a lot of hard work by the state, and a lot of hard work by the Genesee Transportation Group. And there is a little bit more work for sidewalks to do on the southwest corner, but that certainly has made that intersection a lot safer, and again has really helped to clean up that intersection from some problems that we had. The mobile station, I want to beat a dead horse. The former Bank of America, sorry to see them close up and have an empty building. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that we'll get that filled sooner rather than later. I know on a regular basis, Jim and Katie have a lot of requests, a lot of interest for different things. Some things certainly are in keeping with the town. Some things are not. We try to work with the property owners to make sure that we're getting what's good and what's best fitting for the town. So I'd mentioned earlier the streamlined application procedures. I think this was something that had been talked about, and I'm glad that we put this in place. This certainly should help that turnover to be a little bit quicker than maybe what it was before. Obviously, if you're building new or starting new, different story, but if you've got some existing businesses, similar businesses, and we're making some changes, going through the formal hearings doesn't always make make a lot of sense to do that, especially when you can go through. We've got good staff, we've got a lot of good resources that we can draw on, and we can go through and make that certainly a lot easier and a lot better. Increasing visibility and supporting branding of all of our business districts. That is something that our town board is committed to doing. Again, there is a partnership, and we need to be part of that partnership, and we're committed to be part of that partnership. Enhance doing business in Penfield and making sure. I know that my wife and I have made a commitment that obviously we may not be able to buy everything in Penfield, but if we're going to go out to eat, we try to stay in Penfield. If we're going to go out and shop for any retail type of items, we do it in Penfield. We try to do as much in Penfield to support our community. Coordinate with County Economic Development. We have the benefit of having Judy Seil, who is part of that group, who is the manager of that group, and she lives in Penfield, and a number of conversations that I've had with Judy anything that the county can do, she's willing to help and support. Again, a wonderful asset. So, yes, and Phyllis is holding up on the tables. Please grab one of these before you leave. Phyllis put this bookmark together. These are some commonly used or needed numbers in the town, and certainly keep them close so that if you ever have any questions, you certainly can reach out to any members of our staff. And then Renew Penfield, this is an education and resource. This is as part of our NYSERDA grant that we received. There was an opportunity working with this contractor, Blue Springs, to develop a website. And so Renew Penfield, you'll see a Renew Webster, a Renew or a Henrietta. But essentially talking about opportunities. It's an education, it's a resource, things that you can do. I want to springboard off that the town board at our organizational meeting kicked off an energy and environmental advisory committee. We met for the first time this week, and what I'll say is there is just a lot of excitement and some things that we can do to help that, not only from an educational standpoint, from a recycling standpoint, and what have you. So I happen to be chairing that at the request of the town board. And we had our first meeting, and it was just very, very exciting. So I think some good things you'll see coming out of that as well. Now, one of the things that, following up on the town becoming a little bit more involved with the business community, the thing we want to do is, starting at our second legislative meeting in March, we want to have a Penfield Business Showcase. That's where at each of our legislative sessions that we want to highlight a particular business district. And so we'll probably, so we don't offend anyone, we'll probably just start alphabetically and go down through the list. But essentially what we're looking to do is to take the first part of the meeting, the first 5 or 10 minutes, and talk a little bit about that particular area. Talk about the businesses that are there, encourage our viewing audience, which I find continues to grow and grow and grow. I hear so many positive things about PCTV. And talk a little bit about the businesses, maybe coincide and spotlight with maybe your business of the month. We could certainly make sure that they get recognized. We want to encourage any business owners to come in so that we have a chance to meet you. You have a chance to meet us. And we give you a couple of minutes on PCTV to talk a little bit about some of the good things that are going on in your area and in your business. And then our PCTV organization, headed up by Dave Renner in the back, will grab some file footage. So we'll go into an area and we'll get some file footage of that particular area. So while the town board is talking about it, or some of the business folks are talking about it, we'll have in the background showing the different businesses within that area. So again, we want to make sure that you understand and recognize this truly is a partnership, and we need for that partnership to grow and to flourish. We're there for you. We'll work with you as best we can on any item that we can, and we're in it together. So we look forward to working with all of you here, and certainly those that couldn't make it today, working with all of you in the business community. So with that, I know we had a few questions as we went through. Before I turn the mic and podium back to Diane, any questions, concerns, issues, anything that we might be able to help you out with? Joyce.
Why does Sheffield Park need a environmental thing?
Well, they're doing some checks at one time, as you're aware, with Shuffleburger being there and some petroleum-based products, and there was a problem back in the 70s, and I know Shuffleburgers and at the time Rocky Tony's station, and they trying to pinpoint where some of that is, and so there was just an item that needed to be closed out, I guess is probably the best way to put it. And so the town has been working with them over the last year to get that taken care of. Don't think it's a major issue, but again, we want to make sure environmentally we're doing the right thing. Sure, absolutely. Okay. Again, thank you. I appreciate the time. My door's always open. And please stop in and say hi, and good luck with all your businesses. Thank you.